Good day and welcome. Matthew here again. We're Nations Cup, Suzuka circuit in the Group 3 cars. As you see, I line up third on the grid in the Viper. I thought I'd try something different. First race of the night, I went out in the Ferrari. I grabbed pole position because it was very good over a single lap, but it had poor race pace. Fortunately for me, second through fifth, I think, fell off at the first corner. It gave me the gap I needed in the Ferrari to get ahead and stay ahead, and so I could manage the tyres, and I did that quite well and pulled home a win in the Ferrari. I was pretty happy with that. So second race of the night, I thought I'd try something a bit different, and we went with a Viper because it's very rarely seen, and this is not the circuit to bring a Viper out. It does not like the first sector at all, and the loss it has through the first sector, even though it's fast down the straights, it doesn't quite make up for it in the the back half of the circuit. It is better, but it doesn't quite make up for its shortcomings in the first sector, first two sectors. So it was going to be quite an interesting race. I failed my sort of second flying lap. My first flying lap put me in third. I went off at spoon on my second flying lap. I may have had second, would have struggled to catch first for quali, but may have had second place, but lined up third, not too bad. And I wanted to get past the Porsche as soon as possible. I knew it was going to be a little bit slow in a straight line. Couldn't quite get him down to turn one. The spread from the rolling start was too much. But here, they'd both made mistakes into the hairpin, or they'd both come close. That put me within striking distance of the Porsche. I go to look down the inside of 130R. I'm not quite alongside. I wasn't gaining on him fast enough. So I pull back into the slipstream, take the corner nice. He goes wide through 130R exit. I get on the brakes. At my point, little fella, a little bit easier maybe on the brakes. Probably safe to do because he just went off. His tyres would have been dirty. So a good sensible drive by him, and it gave me second place and just allowed me to concentrate on B-Spec Bob in first and try to set up a pass, because while I thought I could get little fella early on, B-Spec it was always going to be the harder of the two. I thought the NSX would be sweeter around here, be better handling, and be tougher to, I guess, track down and overtake by the end of it. So I was glad to clear little fella early on. He did a great job in qualifying, putting in the second, but glad to clear him early, and now I just had to chase down the Honda in front of me at its home turret. So here we are on board lap 3. I'm just trying to close as much of a gap down to B-Spec as I can. I think the gap is currently sitting around a second. And you just see, I guess, the difference between the cars through their lap, and how my car handles. It's very sluggish through these corners. The turn in is okay. It's got okay mid-corner speed. It holds its line quite nicely. But as soon as you get on the throttle, it understeers quite heavily. So you've got to be very patient with this car. You've got to wait and wait and wait, and then get on the power, past where most other cars can be. I guess it kind of makes up for it in the fact that it is so fast down a straight, but you are losing so much speed by having to wait so long. So it doesn't quite balance out. It doesn't make the car really effective, and it's probably a good reason why you don't see it in a lot of tracks. There'll be some tracks it works at. I imagine Nürburgring GP it would work quite nicely, but around Suzuka, not so much. So it turns out the Honda of B-Spec, he was about half a second faster than me through the first sector, just through the S's alone. And so then I'd spend the rest of the lap clawing back that half second that he'd gained. And so we were quite even, so it just came down to who was making the least amount of mistakes, tyre wear, things like that, as to if I would gain overall on a lap or if I would lose overall on a lap. So it was quite a tense battle, and I was just going to spend the next sort of 4 or 5 laps trying to bring that gap down and get in a position to overtake, which was Suzuka. There's some overtaking places, but it can be quite difficult. But at this stage, you see I'm visibly closer. I'm, about 8 tenths behind. So there's some quite interesting differences. So I was watching the NSX and how it behaved. I just wondered if it behaved similar to the Ferrari. I did notice he was avoiding some of the heavier curbs and heavier bumps around the circuit. So at the chicane at the end of the circuit, he wasn't jumping over the curbs like I can. The Viper will handily jump over the curbs and cut that chicane down quite nicely, where he was taking it quite gently through there in the NSX. So I knew I could be more aggressive through that chicane. That may give me an opportunity later to attack. So it's just, you know, keeping a mental note of where his car was performing and where it wasn't, and potentially where I can attack or launch an attack later on if it comes down to it. Coming down to the end of lap 7, still trying to close on B-Spec. It's been quite a struggle, and you see now this car is starting to struggle through Spoon. I'm really having to tuck it into the apex and having to wait to get on power. But the gap ebbed and flowed. I think the previous lap he made a mistake. I got it down to about, I think, 4/10, and then he stretched it back out to just over a second, and now it's coming down just below a second. I think we're about 8/10 apart again. So it was quite a tough battle to get the time down to get in a position to overtake. And you see me hop all the way over the curb there. The Viper handles that bump no problem at all, and you see the Honda having to take the wide line around that because he won't handle it. His tyres are going down, so I thought it was behaving kind of like the Ferrari. So I knew this lap he was going to be suffering. He just had to hang on, but he was not going to be fast, so I could probably take advantage. And it was all about this sector. If I can stay close to him through here, I can get in his draft. The Viper's got more than enough straight line speed to get past him. Just had to keep it nice and tidy. So braking a bit earlier, lifting a bit longer, making sure I'm hitting these apexes. Don't be too aggressive. Let the driver ahead make the mistakes by trying to overdrive the car. And I just got to keep doing what I've been doing and keeping it, you know, being sensible, staying on the track and just hitting the marks. So you see he did not get away this lap from me. We're still, you know, about 6/10, half a second behind him. Got to get on the power, a little bit oversteer, getting kind of eager. I'm so close to him. Just, you know, it kind of gets you. You want to get as close as you can. I just say I'm keeping calm and trying to hit my marks, but then you kind of come out of these slow corners, you just want to slam the throttle and catch up, and the tyre in the Viper is pretty decent. He makes a mistake. I thought I'd have a good run on him down to Spoon. It's not really a good place to overtake, and the Viper struggles through Spoon. He put on his brakes really early for that corner. I was really surprised with how much earlier he was on the brakes for that one. So in the moment I was like, oh no, and I just tapped the back of him. He didn't go off, so I was pretty happy with that. So the exit of Spoon, we get a good run. Looks to go to the outside. He takes the inside line, fair enough. I'm not far enough along beside. I decided to back out to try to get a better run through 130R. He takes the right hand side. He leaves me no option but to go on the left hand side of the chicane. I put on the brakes as late as I dare. I thought he was going to completely miss this, but he doesn't. He pulls it up. I go all over the curb just to try to get a run. I get a good run, but you can't go around the outside of him here. He takes a shorter line to the line and takes the win, and I come home second in a very, very close finish. A really good battle with B-Spec Bob. So that was the race. It was a heck of a lot of fun. I did not know what to expect. I thought I'd be able to challenge for the lead. I did not expect to turn into quite an epic battle with B-Spec and with the Honda. So it was a really good race. He held his nerve. You saw, although you didn't see in this review, but at the time I saw B-Spec making, you know, minor mistakes, or the car stepping out over curbs where the Ferrari would do the same thing. So I knew how he was feeling. So he did really well to hang on to his nerves and hang on to the car and keep it pointing in the right direction. It looked to be getting quite tough in a few laps, and he made a few mistakes and fell back, but then he got back on top of it and gained a bit of a gap on me again. So it was a really good back and forth, really tense battle for 7 laps, just trying to close the gap to get in position to overtake. And fortunately for him, he did what he needed to do and stayed ahead of me. It was really close at the end. I thought going into that last chicane, considering how early he'd braked into Spoon, that he was going to be off and missed his braking point for the last chicane. But he pulled it up in time. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to do it. Kept it straight round the chicane and placed his car nicely to prevent me from getting past. So really good effort. There goes my mistake into that corner. I was braking early for my brake point, and he was much earlier than me, but at least he didn't go off. No harm, no foul. We carry on. So thank you for watching, thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a heck of a battle between us two with all the fellows over in New York. Good luck to all the guys over there, especially Sai and Monkey Matt. Some great New Zealand drivers representing the manufacturers over there. So thank you for coming along. If you did like what you see, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends and family. If you want to see these races live, follow me on Twitch. The link is in the description below. And until next time, thank you and bye-bye.